Well, you mentioned recession there because the IMF said that the damage of a recession escalating for wealthy nations. So, I mean, you said there that there's a narrow path and we should avoid it. But is it becoming more likely, at least, that we could be coming in for a harder landing?
Always said that it was going to be a difficult, narrow path, Pete. We've got to bring inflation down at the time where we're receiving inflation from the war in Ukraine through higher energy prices, where countries right around the world are going through an extreme tightening of monetary policy, that we're not immune to any of the impacts of that, and we've seen some of them play out over the last few months in the international banking system. But I do want to repeat, a lot of the things that are triggering troubles overseas, we don't have the same problems here.
Yeah.
We have a very strong domestic banking system, strong labour market, getting great commodity prices, but we're not immune from any of these international impacts. So the path is still possible, but it's very, very narrow, and it's going to be a tough few months ahead.
It's not going to be a budget for austere times, but what sort of a budget is it going to be, and does this IMF forecast change any of your calculations?
Our settings haven't changed. The 3 Rs, ensuring that we're responsibly dealing with our spending, to ensuring we are bringing inflationary pressure down, at the same time ensuring that we're repairing some of the damage that has been done to our supply chains, particularly through the pandemic and the wasted opportunity over the last decade. So restraint, repair, very targeted relief to households in relation to particularly energy. We've already legislated the changes for medicines and for childcare relief, some of those lumpy expenditures, big expenditures on households. So our fundamental strategy hasn't changed. We do know that we're going to have to be nimble over the time ahead. If the international circumstance does deteriorate rapidly, we won't be immune.
Julian Leeser's defection from no to yes, is that a boost for your campaign?
Well, first I want to say that Julian Leeser's done the right and the honourable thing. And I've always liked him. I think I like him a little bit more over the last 24 hours. It's been known for many years that he's been a strong supporter. I met with him and Noel Pearson over a decade ago where he was pitching up this proposal. He's a very enthusiastic supporter of it. So I always thought the position that Peter Dutton had taken the Liberals down would sit very uncomfortably with him and many of his colleagues. The fact is, Pete, the more people we can get on side, particularly the more people in Parliament that we can get on side for this issue, the easier it's going to be to convince the majority of Australians and the majority of states about this necessary change. Modest but important. It's about recognition of First Nations people and showing respect and providing a voice, an opportunity for consultation to our national parliament and to the government. I think we can do it. I think we need to do it. And I think Julian's decision overnight is an honourable one and an important one for the campaign.
OK, well, Peter Dutton called for this yesterday. Should your government apologise for its attacks on Julian over recent months and weeks?
No, absolutely not. And I think Julian himself best answered that claim yesterday when he said it had absolutely no bearing on his decision. All we've done over the last couple of months is point out the difference between the very strong and positive views that Julian Leeser has had on this issue over a decade and the very weak and negative views and comments that are being made by his leader, Peter Dutton. There is a huge gap there, and I think Julian's actions yesterday just follow the inconsistency between the leader of the opposition's position and the right position that has been adopted by Julian and many of his colleagues, I should say, over many, many years.
Stephen Jones, we'll leave it there. Appreciate it.